Hey there, I'm Eva Bride, and you're listening to Eva Bride, What Comes Next. This is the ongoing story detailing the aftermath of my first hypomanic episode as a 40-something married mother of two. This delightful tale takes us on a journey of infidelity, childhood and sexual trauma, genetics, weight loss and body issues, love, intuition, and finally, how multiple family suicides impacted my life. Eva Bride, What Comes Next? Season 1, Episode 1. Welcome to the shit show. Hello, folks, and welcome to the shit show that is my life right now. I've been kicking around the idea of making a podcast for a while now, but my situation has been too volatile that I didn't even know what story I was telling. So it honestly changes daily, but recent events have hopefully cleared things up a bit. So are you ready? Back in October, November of 24, a significant change took place inside and outside of me. Without diving in too deep right now, I'll give a brief rundown of things that have taken place since January of 23. After losing my mom to lung cancer in the summer of 22, I found myself at my highest weight yet again. And for the record, outside of pregnancy, that was around 235 pounds, and I'm sitting at a nice 5'3". So I was over the struggle of the up and down. In January of 23, I pursued bariatric surgery, and by April of 23, I had gotten the gastric sleeve. December of that same year, I was now down 65 pounds, and I had some excess skin and fat that was wildly unattractive and hindering any further real progress. So I had cosmetic surgery where, let me think about this. I had something called a belt-like lipectomy. So I've got a scar that goes all the way around my stomach, down like my groin and up underneath my butt. And I've had a breast reduction, and the breast reduction was in 2018, to be clear, but the surgery I received to get skin and fat removed from my arms and my sides. So a scar goes from my elbow fold all the way down under my boob where it meets my breast reduction scar. Did I mention I have some pretty solid surgical scars? So I had a lot of skin and fat removed from all those areas. Like I said, arms, stomach, and thighs mostly. Oh, and the sides. Later, more got removed from the sides. But the first go around was 12 pounds of skin and fat. The later sides, I'm not sure what it was. They took it off in the office. I've gone through a lot of stuff. Anyway, that changed my body very dramatically. And then I kept losing weight after that point. So I ended up around 140, and I've stayed pretty steady since for about a year. Let's see. So between, December of 23 and fall of 24, some other things had taken place. Let's note. I had shaved my head as far down as I could go, minus bicking it, because the hair loss from the bariatric surgery was pretty bad. I wasn't taking in enough protein. Leading up to that, I was doing vivid colors in my hair, which meant heavy bleaching, and I was never happy, so I was over bleaching, and it was just a disaster. So then I had to wear wigs for months and months and months because my hair was not growing, because my protein intake was still just awful. But once I started taking in my protein shakes, my hair started growing back, thankfully, for the record. Protein is important. I had invisible braces, so that was a good time. Yeah, I felt like an adult there. After the weight loss, I had double chins before weight loss, and then you lose the weight, and then now all of a sudden I don't have any fat to fill my double chin, and it's just skin, and my face was sunken in and wrinkly and did not look good. So I went and I tried filler and Botox for the first time. 10/10 recommend if you can't stand your face in the mirror. I was getting regular eyelash extensions. I also had gotten my hair where it had grown long enough to try K-tip extensions all over. That was mildly pricey. And we did some extensive home remodeling as well. I'm certain there's more. I'm absolutely certain there's more, but my memory is absolute shite. So that's all I can come up with right now. But basically, to put this into context, what I'm saying is, and with less than 2 years, my whole life went through some very rapid changes. Just physically. First, I'm fat, obese, seeing my mother's ass in the mirror, and now I'm thin and gaunt and seeing my aunt's wrinkles and weird extra chins. And then some other shit in between. It's just a lot of change in a short amount of time. And we're assuming that's what triggered what my doctor is calling adjustment disorder. That absolutely tracks for all things considered, but I suspect that adjustment disorder might be what triggered my first hypomanic episode. So that's when things really started to get interesting. Let's get to know me a bit better, shall we? I'm a 41-year-old married woman with 2 kids. Now, as candid as I'm about to be with all you fine folks, I will be changing the names to protect the identity of those involved, including myself, my husband, family, and children. So, for example, going forward, my husband will just simply be my husband or husband. The kids will just go as the boy, who is age 7, and the girl, who is aged 5. There will be other characters who will be named accordingly, or others with personal chosen nicknames. I've really been drawn to a band recently called Sleep Token. I have not dug into it much yet. So I'd say if there's any Sleep Token fans out there listening, if you could, fill me in to the goings-ons, that'd be great. Actually, let me say, first of all, if I have any listeners, thank you. And if any of you happen to be Sleep Token fans, let me know. Drop it on me. I really like the concept of them being anonymous and like the lead singer just going by the vessel, like he's just a vessel to deliver the art kind of thing. Anyway, I'm really not meant to be in the limelight either, so I'm going to try to adapt that concept as best I can, because in my opinion, it shouldn't really matter who I am if you find my story interesting and or helpful or inspirational or funny or whatever the hell else that I'm trying to accomplish here. So anyway, but to note that you may also hear other band drops, because music has been really big for me right now, connecting lyrics to things that are going on in my life. It's just been the soundtrack of this life as we know it. Anyway, so the summer of 24, I really started to take a look around and appreciate my life. I was raised by a single mother who wasn't exactly the best. Got a lot of baggage with that one. I had a grandma, an aunt, and an uncle. So my grandmother was the mother to my mom, my aunt, and my uncle. My aunt and my uncle never had any children, and my mother only had me. So it was it. It was me. I was the only kid. Despite that, I sucked in school. I dropped out of 8th grade, I think. I spent 2 years there. And somehow I found myself technically in the high school building. They were going to let me go anyway, I think, even though I hadn't passed 8th grade. I'm a little fuzzy on those details, but I was in the building for 3 days, and so I'm not really sure if that counts. But so I say I didn't exactly go to high school. Growing up was not easy. I experimented with drugs as a teenager. Obviously, I started working as soon as I could since I dropped out of school. But by a lot of luck, hard work, and a lot of heartache, I found my perfect life. For the record, I do plan to go into further detail on a lot of this in further episodes. I think I'm going to break down the elements of the story. So, anyway, I was married to an amazing man with amazing kids, in an amazing home, in an amazing community, with an amazing job. And I cannot emphasize how amazing I truly think my life is, how appreciative I am, simply because of where I came up, I guess, how I came up, what I expected. But I am genuinely grateful. So please excuse me if I gush a little bit too much. But I'm not sure what I expected to achieve as an 8th grade dropout, which, for the record, I mean, I do have my GED. I did take some college as an adult. We'll talk about that later. But I found myself suddenly humbled by the life that I had. I had pushed through so much shit in my life to create a happy environment to raise kids, because whatever I had as a kid was just not it. It was not a happy environment. And I had spent so much of my life aiming for a better life, for a better way, working to prove that I am better than where I came from. Maybe because I did it in my own way or in spite of how I came up. I'm not really sure. But they were all dead. I mean, my grandma was the light of my life. She died in 2008 of lung cancer. My bipolar uncle followed in 2010 by hanging himself. And as I said, my mother went in 2022 of lung cancer. I'll tell you about my aunt in a minute, but to finish, my point is they were all dead. Who was I proving shit to? And let's talk about my aunt, my sweet, darling aunt. She never did have kids, so I was it for her. I was like her daughter. And that dear decided to put a gun in her mouth instead of seeking medical help. Because according to her suicide note to me, she wasn't feeling well and didn't want to go to the hospital and not be able to smoke her cigarettes. So yes, folks, that is my family. That is where I come from. Be humbled that I am in a happy, healthy environment now, as humbled as I am, because that's what we're working with. Anyway, some other family shit trickled down. So when she passed, I got some small assets. It was kind of almost like she got out of her way so me and my family could live our best lives. And boy, did we. So like most of those assets were invested in our home and vehicles, but others were invested in money-making endeavors. This was kind of a peace and freedom that I had never known. I had this moment where I realized all my goals had been achieved by pure luck and hard work. I mean, sure, I had some things I wanted to do, but so much had been done and accomplished already. And so much had been lost in the quest to achieve this life. Feelings, emotions, missed opportunities. Anyway, and here it was, this life I always wanted. So, like, now what? It's time to slow down and start enjoying it. This was life 2.0, you know? Then I started asking myself, well, what the hell comes next? What do you do when you've achieved your life's goals? All your life's goals up until this point you've achieved. What do you do next? Well, use the goddamn advantage you just have been given at the death of a dear family member. You go back and you enjoy some of the things that you missed out on the first time around. Maybe things you were too distracted to be really present for. I lived out some stuff with my kids. We had a nice spring and summer vacation. The boy was spoiled as hell with his first massage at 6 years old on a beach in Mexico next to dear mommy. We rode jet skis, swam with dolphins and stingrays. Mom was just not holding back. I had never done this stuff either. Apparently my husband had done some of it because he was less impressed, but me and the kids were living this all out for the first time. I went all in on some commercial grade bounce houses so I could have regular block parties for the neighborhood and the neighborhood kids. We actually have another one coming in a couple of weeks that I have planned. I put down roots. I connected with the community, and this is where it all started. Life was good. I was starting to finally look like myself again. remember I said I saw my mom and aunt for a while. And with getting back to myself, something from what deep came bubbling up. If I had to try to put it into words, I'd say that the wife and the mother are distinctly separate from the woman somehow. Their needs, their wants. Apparently, the woman has sexual and childhood trauma. She has bipolar 2 disorder, as it turns out. Spent my whole life in fear of bipolar disorder because of my uncle. And here we have it recently. Who fucking knew? Anyway. So the woman also is a sexual being who has been repressed and suppressed for quite a while. The wife and mother had been in control. And as I said, they had different needs and wants. Now the woman was starting to wake up and things took a turn. I made the decision that I never wanted to sleep with my husband again. At this point, it had already been 2 years since we had last been together. This is a brand new body. I created it in my own image. I'm no longer going to share it with someone that I didn't really want to. Don't really want to. Or, better said, I'm not going to share it with someone for the wrong reasons. For example, not because he's my husband and I'm obligated to, but because I actually want to. And I do not want to. Insert sexual trauma here. I cannot say sexually attracted to someone I truly love. Taken in the fact that I was never really romantically into him to begin with. I married him for the husband and the father he would be, not necessarily for the woman being head over and heels with him kind of thing. I was really picky about who I had kids with. I had seen how picking the wrong person can ruin lives. Hell, it even killed my best friend, which we will talk about later. So, my wants and my needs as a woman did not matter. But back in the summer and the fall, here I was reading these romance novels, Bridgerton at the time, and I'm sitting in this new banging ass body, and I have a conversation with one of my soulmates at the bowling alley. Let's meet Bowling Babe, shall we? I'd bowled with him for an entire year without ever speaking a word to him. All I really recall thinking was, man, in another life I would find him attractive. But here it was, October of 24, and we're having a conversation for the first time. And in that moment, I knew a few things instinctively. He could withstand whatever storm I felt brewing within me, because I felt it coming. He needed me, and I needed him. Oh, let me say, I suspect he needed me. He did, as it turns out. I'm a delight to his life. Anyway, so if he got to know me, I thought, man, he would probably like me. Maybe even love me. Hell, I might be the love of this man's life. And 6 months later, that is either true, all of that is either true or on track to be true. I find it interesting how many times in my life that I have, air quotes here, known something upon meeting a person or about a particular situation. My intuition has a pretty stellar track record of steering me right. Like, for example, my husband is aware of Bowling Babe. Against everyone's better judgment, I did not step away from Bowling Babe, nor did I hide the fact that I would not be doing so from my husband. Situation is sketchy at best, but for the time being, we have an arrangement that is allowing me to dig into my new diagnosis of bipolar 2, get the therapy and medication that I obviously need. He allowed me to quit my amazing job, which insert copious amount of sobs here. We will talk about that later. That is new this week, and I'm still reeling. Anyway, so I did that to follow this crazy-ass path with no clear destination. And he's being so gracious about the fact that I absolutely and utterly exist, that Bowling Babe is a part of the healing process. I lost some connection and roots when all my family passed away, I think. So, anyway, let's just say I think I need him at this particular time. But things are precarious right now. For the time being, I have a husband who knows I have some kind of sexual trauma that prevents me from sleeping with him. It certainly isn't physical. I mean, we made 2 amazing children together. But he knows and agrees the importance of keeping the home and the family together during this time of healing, and that it's beneficial to our kids because my son has two things that he likely got from me. So he has ADHD, and he has to take a medication for, and he also has something called disruptive mood dysregulation disorder. It's called DMDD, and he also has to take a medication for that. Safe bets, it's coming from my genetics, so, fun times for that kid, and let's see what my poor daughter has to face when she gets older. Anyway, I think he's starting to see the importance of me sorting that out, because it could be our future with our children. Anyway, so I think that's what the story is shaping up to be right now. Me navigating having a husband, a boyfriend, being a mother with loads of issues to unpack. Like I said, I do believe that I will just be breaking these elements down into more digestible pieces. And just taking deep dives into the different topics. Hopefully it's therapeutic for me. Hopefully any listeners I may have find it beneficial. I'm really aiming for a motivational, and you can achieve anything you set your mind to theme here. But there are so many different elements to this story. I understand it is a lot. There's no real clear focus at this point other than the healing and to talk about the stories. So I would say if you've made it this far, thank you for listening. I do hope that you find future podcasts beneficial to you. But I think I will be signing these off for, we'll try this, ta-ta for now, TTFN, and thank you all for listening.